The twin suns of Ryk Prime burned low in the distance as Commander Thrax, the fiercest warrior of the Acher Dominion, adjusted the plasma blade at his side. The smell of scorched metal and ionized air still clung to his senses after their latest campaign against the Drelak hordes. His scars itched, a sign of battles well fought and enemies well vanquished. And yet, as the ship's guidance system locked onto its next destination, an uneasy ripple passed through his scales. The destination made no sense. "Are you certain this is correct?" Thrax growled, his voice a deep rumble that shook the command deck. "Yes, Commander," replied Zin, his second-in-command, whose spiny crest flattened in deference. "It is the coordinates provided by the envoy." Thrax scrutinized the holographic projection, the coordinates blinking steadily. A small, unremarkable planet on the fringes of the galaxy, Earth. It was the last place he expected to visit, and certainly not under these circumstances. "Explain again what this invitation entails," Thrax demanded, his tone laced with suspicion. Zin hesitated, his claws tapping nervously against the console. "The humans call it a BBQ, Commander. A form of communal gathering involving the preparation and consumption of food." Thrax's mandibles clicked in confusion. "Food? They summon the galaxy's deadliest warriors to cook?" "That appears to be the case," Zin replied, unable to meet his commander's gaze. The room fell into a tense silence. The Acher Dominion, feared conquerors of 1,000 systems, had received countless summons over the centuries, calls to war, demands for surrender, pleas for mercy. But this was unprecedented. Thrax could scarcely believe that the humans, a species barely out of their technological adolescence, had dared to contact them, let alone issue such an audacious invitation. "Do they mock us?" Thrax growled, his claws flexing against the command chair. "I do not think so," Zin said cautiously. The envoy was quite sincere. They said it was an opportunity to build bridges and forge camaraderie. Apparently, such events are a cornerstone of their culture. Thrax leaned back, his eyes narrowing as he considered the implications. Humans were an enigma in the galaxy, a species that had risen rapidly from obscurity, their technological and cultural advancements baffling even the most ancient civilizations. They were known not for their might, but for their unpredictability. Where other species sought dominance or stability, humans thrived on chaos, innovation, and an uncanny ability to adapt to the impossible. It was this unpredictability that unnerved Thrax. "Very well," he said finally. "We will go. But if this is some kind of trap, the humans will learn why the Acher are feared across the stars." As the ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, Thrax surveyed the planet from the viewport. It was lush and vibrant, teeming with life, a stark contrast to the barren battlefields he had grown accustomed to. His warriors stood behind him, their towering forms bristling with weapons and armor. They had come prepared for anything. Or so they thought. The landing zone was strange. Instead of a fortified stronghold or a military base, the Acher warriors found themselves in what appeared to be a residential neighborhood. Small, colorful structures lined the streets, and a patch of grass, far too small to be a battlefield, lay at the center of it all. A group of humans awaited them, their postures relaxed, their faces adorned with what could only be described as expressions of amusement. Thrax stepped forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over the humans. He expected them to flinch, to cower before his presence. Instead, one of them, a short, round individual with a wide grin, stepped up and extended a hand. "Welcome to the cookout, big guy," the human said, his voice loud and cheerful. "Name's Tom. Hope you're hungry." Thrax stared at the outstretched hand, unsure how to respond. Was this a gesture of challenge? Submission? Mockery? The human seemed undeterred by his hesitation. "Come on, don't leave me hangin'," Tom said, wiggling his fingers. Zin leaned in, whispering, "Commander, I believe it is a greeting ritual. You are supposed to grasp his hand and shake it." Shake it? Thrax echoed, baffled. But he complied, gripping the human's hand with a fraction of his strength. Tom winced, but his grin never faltered. That's the spirit. Now, let's get you guys some ribs. You do eat ribs, right? Thrax released the human's hand and glanced at Zin, who shrugged helplessly. I do not know what ribs are, Commander. Tom clapped his hands, drawing the attention of the other humans. All right, folks, let's show our new friends how we do things on Earth. What followed was a scene unlike anything the Acker warriors had ever experienced. Tables laden with strange foods appeared seemingly out of nowhere, accompanied by a cacophony of laughter, chatter, and the sizzle of meat cooking over an open flame. Humans moved among the Acker with an ease that bordered on reckless, offering plates of food and cups of some amber liquid that burned pleasantly as it went down. Thrax observed the chaos, his mind reeling. The humans showed no fear, no deference. They treated the Acker as equals, even going so far as to make jokes about their size and appearance. One particularly bold human approached Thrax with a slab of meat dripping with sauce. Try this, the human said, thrusting the plate into Thrax's hands. It's my secret recipe. Won first place at the county fair last year. Thrax sniffed the meat cautiously, his mandibles clicking in curiosity. The scent was intriguing. Hesitantly, he took a bite. And for the first time in his long, brutal existence, Thrax experienced joy. The flavor exploded across his senses, a perfect harmony of sweet, smoky, and savory. He devoured the rest of the meat in seconds, much to the delight of the humans watching him. Looks like we got a fan, Tom said, laughing. Thrax's warriors, emboldened by their commander's reaction, began sampling the food as well. The tension that had hung over the gathering dissolved, replaced by a strange sense of camaraderie. By the time the suns had set, the Acker warriors were seated on the grass alongside the humans, their weapons forgotten as they shared stories and laughter. Thrax found himself deep in conversation with Tom, who was explaining the intricacies of something called fantasy football. For the first time in his life, Thrax felt something he had never known, peace. As the night wore on, Thrax glanced at the stars, his mind turning to the countless battles he had fought, the countless lives he had taken. And yet, here, on this unassuming planet, he had found something more powerful than any weapon, more profound than any victory. He had found humanity. And it was terrifying. The stars above shimmered in a way that seemed brighter than usual, or perhaps it was the lingering effects of the amber liquid the humans referred to as beer. Commander Thrax leaned back against a strange, fabric-lined contraption that one of the humans called a lawn chair, its fragile appearance utterly unsuitable for a warrior of his stature yet surprisingly comfortable. Around him, the Acker warriors were uncharacteristically at ease, some even attempting to mimic the humans' gestures of casual conversation. Thrax observed the humans closely, still unsure of what to make of them. He had expected cunning traps, veiled threats, or perhaps an elaborate ploy to humiliate his kind. Instead, he had found acceptance. The humans seemed almost absurdly eager to share their culture, their food, their laughter. But beneath their jovial exterior, Thrax detected something deeper, a quiet confidence, an unshakable assurance that had no need for displays of dominance. This unnerved him more than any weapon ever had. Tom, the human who seemed to have appointed himself as host and diplomat, plopped down beside Thrax, holding another plate of what they called barbecue ribs. His shirt was stained with sauce, and his cheeks were flushed, whether from the firelight or the beer was anyone's guess. So, Tom said, gesturing toward the Acker warriors who were now huddled around a grill, attempting to decipher the complexities of human cooking. How's your crew holding up? Any allergies I should know about? Last thing we need is an intergalactic incident because someone couldn't handle the spice rub. Thrax tilted his head, his mandibles twitching in what might have been a smirk. They are adjusting. Your customs are strange, but your hospitality is unexpected. Unexpected, huh? Tom chuckled. Yeah, I guess inviting galaxy-wide killing machines to a backyard barbecue isn't exactly in the diplomacy manual. But hey, figured it was worth a shot. Better than blowing each other up, right? Thrax stared at Tom, his gaze sharp and probing. You speak of peace, yet your species has a history of violence unmatched by any I have encountered. Your wars have left scars even the cosmos can see. Why would you extend an olive branch to those you fear? Tom's grin faded, replaced by a more thoughtful expression. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. You're not wrong about us. Humans, we've done some terrible things. We fight, we bicker, we make mistakes. But there's one thing about us that people don't always understand: we never stop trying to be better. And sometimes, the best way to do that is to find common ground, even with someone, or something, you'd normally see as a threat. Thrax was silent, his mind turning over Tom's words. The concept was alien to him. The Acker Dominion operated on strength and survival. To seek understanding instead of dominance was a foreign notion. Yet here were the humans, willingly lowering their guard in the presence of their supposed enemies. Your approach is unorthodox, Thrax admitted. In the Acker Dominion, weakness is met with eradication. Mercy is not a virtue, it is a liability. Tom raised an eyebrow, chewing on a piece of barbecue. See, that's the thing. You think this is mercy? Nah, man, this is strategy. If we can turn an enemy into an ally, that's a win in my book. And let's be honest, you guys could use a good barbecue. Bet it beats whatever you've got on your ships. Before Thrax could respond, a loud cheer erupted from the other side of the yard. One of the Acker warriors, Garath, stood triumphantly holding a massive slab of grilled meat, charred to perfection. The humans applauded as if he had just performed a great feat of strength, and Garath, and used to such unreserved praise, looked both confused and oddly pleased. Looks like Garatha's the grill master now, Tom said with a laugh. You guys ever think about opening a barbecue joint? Might be a nice side hustle when you're not conquering planets. Thrax couldn't help but chuckle, a deep, rumbling sound that startled even himself. You are unlike any species I have encountered, Tom. Your people wield humor as though it were a weapon. Sometimes it is, Tom replied, his tone serious now. Laughter's disarming. It breaks down walls, makes people see each other as, well, people. Even if one of those people happens to be a 9-foot-tall lizard with plasma blades. Thrax considered this. The Acker Dominion had always seen humanity as a minor threat, a resource-rich but militarily inferior species. Yet the humans had never relied solely on their strength. Their creativity, adaptability, and willingness to embrace the absurd made them unpredictable, and unpredictability was a weapon the Acker did not know how to counter. As the night wore on, the humans introduced the Acker to more of their peculiar traditions. A box emitting rhythmic, thumping sounds, music, they called it, became the center of attention as humans and Acker alike attempted what could only be described as a dance. Zin, much to everyone's surprise, proved to have an uncanny sense of rhythm, earning cheers and laughter as he twirled awkwardly but enthusiastically. Thrax stood on the sidelines, observing the chaos with a mix of bemusement and wariness. The humans were bold, certainly, but there was an underlying strategy to their madness. By treating the Acker as guests rather than enemies, they had managed to disarm them without a single shot fired. It was a tactic as brilliant as it was baffling. Commander. Garatha's voice boomed from across the yard. He was holding what the humans called a cornhole bag, his arm raised in triumph. They dare us to best them in this game. Thrax sighed, his mandibles clicking in frustration. We are warriors, not children. Why would I? Come on, big guy, Tom interrupted, handing him one of the small, bean-filled bags. Think of it as a test of precision. I mean, you've got those fancy plasma cannons and all, but can you hit a target with this? Thrax narrowed his eyes, accepting the challenge. The humans cheered as he stepped forward, his massive frame towering over the wooden boards with holes cut into them. He weighed the bag in his claws, calculating the trajectory with the precision of a seasoned tactician. With a flick of his wrist, the bag soared through the air and landed perfectly in the hole. The crowd erupted in applause, humans and Acker alike. Thrax turned to Tom, who was grinning ear to ear. "See? Told you this was your kind of game," Tom said. Thrax shook his head, unable to suppress a small smile. "Your people are strange, Tom. But perhaps there is strength in your strangeness." Tom raised his beer in a mock toast. "I'll drink to that." As the festivities continued, Thrax couldn't shake the feeling that something profound had occurred. The humans had done what no species had ever dared. They had invited the galaxy's deadliest warriors into their homes, not with fear or desperation, but with open arms and the promise of friendship. And, against all odds, it was working. As the stars shifted overhead, casting their pale glow over the humans' backyard, the Acker warriors sat among their newfound companions, their towering forms blending into the vibrant chaos of Earth's culture. The smell of grilled meat and the sound of laughter filled the air, a far cry from the harsh cries of battlefields they had grown used to. For the first time in eons, Commander Thrax found himself at peace, not just with his surroundings, but with the strange, bewildering species that had made such peace possible. The night had grown late, yet the energy among the group showed no signs of waning. Humans and Acker alike traded stories, their differences fading into insignificance in the glow of firelight and camaraderie. Tom, ever the center of attention, leaned back in his chair, his words slurred slightly from the number of beers he had consumed. "So, Thrax," Tom began, gesturing lazily with his drink. "You gotta tell me. What's it like being the galaxy's biggest badass? I mean, you guys take down entire fleets, conquer planets, and all that, right?" Thrax chuckled, a sound deep and resonant, like distant thunder. "It is not as glorious as you imagine, human. Each victory comes at a cost. Each conquest leaves scars, not only on the battlefield but on those who survive it. Power demands sacrifice." Tom considered this, his jovial expression softening. "Yeah, I get that. Guess we humans aren't so different. We've been through wars, too. Some of them were necessary, others, not so much. But you know what's funny? Every time we've hit rock bottom, we've managed to crawl back up. And it's not because we're the strongest or the smartest. It's because we don't give up on each other, no matter how messy things get." Thrax tilted his head, regarding Tom with a mixture of curiosity and respect. "Your resilience is remarkable, Tom. It is what makes your species so unpredictable. Many fear that unpredictability, but I see now that it is also your greatest strength." Tom grinned. "Damn right it is. And you know what? You guys aren't so bad yourselves. I mean, sure, you look like something out of a nightmare, but once you get a few beers and some ribs in you, you're practically family." The word hung in the air, family. It was a concept the Acker had long abandoned in their pursuit of conquest and survival. Among their ranks, bonds were forged through necessity, not affection. Yet, here, in this strange human gathering, Thrax felt a flicker of something he hadn't felt in centuries, belonging. As the night wore on, the humans began to wind down, their voices growing softer, their movements slower. Some had fallen asleep in their chairs, while others lingered by the fire, staring into its embers. The Acker, too, seemed subdued, their imposing presence tempered by the strange warmth of the evening. Thrax rose from his seat, his massive frame casting a long shadow over the group. The humans who were still awake looked up at him, their expressions curious but unafraid. "I have seen many things in my time," Thrax began, his deep voice commanding attention. "I have witnessed stars born and extinguished, civilizations rise and fall. I have led my warriors into battles that shook the very fabric of existence. And yet, here, on this unassuming planet, I have encountered something far more powerful than any weapon or strategy." He paused, glancing at his warriors, who nodded in quiet agreement. You, humans, possess a strength unlike any other. It is not in your technology or your weapons, but in your spirit. You welcome even those who might destroy you, and in doing so, you disarm them without a single strike. It is a lesson my people have long forgotten, but one we would do well to remember. Tom raised his drink in a mock toast, his grin wide. Well, Thrax, I'd say the same about you guys. You came here ready to wipe us out if we so much as sneezed wrong, but look at you now, grilling steaks and playing cornhole like pros. If that's not progress, I don't know what is. The group erupted in laughter, the sound echoing into the night. Thrax allowed himself a rare smile, his mandibles clicking softly in contentment. For the first time in his long, war-torn life, he felt the weight of his responsibilities lift, replaced by something lighter, something human. As the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, the Acker prepared to depart. Their ship loomed in the distance, its sleek, ominous design a stark contrast to the humble homes that surrounded it. The humans gathered to see them off, their goodbyes filled with the same warmth and humor that had defined the night. Tom approached Thrax one last time, extending his hand. This time, Thrax did not hesitate. He clasped the human's hand firmly, his gaze steady. "Thank you, Tom," Thrax said. "You have shown us that even in a galaxy full of conflict, there is room for understanding." Tom shrugged, his grin unwavering. "Hey, that's what barbecues are for. Just promise me one thing, next time you're in the neighborhood, bring some Acker recipes. I bet you guys have some killer spices we don't know about." Thrax chuckled, releasing Tom's hand. "You have my word." With that, the Acker warriors boarded their ship, their forms silhouetted against the rising sun. As the vessel ascended into the sky, the humans watched in silence, their expressions a mix of awe and satisfaction. Back on the ship, Thrax stood at the viewport, watching as Earth grew smaller in the distance. He felt a strange sense of loss, but also a newfound resolve. The humans had taught him something he had long forgotten, that strength was not only in conquest, but in connection. "Commander," Zin said, approaching him. "What did you think of the humans?" Thrax glanced at his second-in-command, a rare softness in his gaze. "They are dangerous, Zin. But not for the reasons we believed. Their true power lies not in their weapons, but in their hearts. They are a force the galaxy would be wise to respect." As the stars stretched before them, Thrax turned away from the viewport, his mind already planning. The Acker Dominion would change, not through conquest, but through the lessons learned on a small, unassuming planet with a species that had mastered the art of connection. And, perhaps, the galaxy's deadliest warriors would one day return, not as conquerors, but as friends.